Hello and welcome to another one of my flight reviews. Tonight we're going to be flying from Adelaide to Perth, but with a little bit of a twist and a fair dose of old, low-cost Australian aviation nostalgia. We're going to be flying on one of the relatively rare ex-Tiger Airways Airbus A320 aircraft, which are based in West Australia, operating predominantly regional and mining charter flights on behalf of Virgin's regional subsidiary, Virgin Australia Regional Airlines. With Virgin Australia known to deliver a fairly consistent hybrid mid-range airline experience with its vast majority Boeing 737 fleet, really begs the question as to whether Virgin Australia can maintain a similar and competitive hard product offering on these aircraft, which are so quintessentially associated with low-cost, low-frills Aussie aviation, which are known for very cramped legroom and lack of any real in-flight amenities. So without further ado, come join me on this flight to Perth tonight as we get to experience everything the Virgin Australia A320 experience really is like, how it may differ from its Boeing 737-800 counterpart, and whether really the A320 experience is a subpar way of flying with Virgin Australia in 2024. Good afternoon and welcome to the beautiful, spectacular summit of Mount Lofty, high up here in the Adelaide Hills region of South Australia. We've had a great, amazing morning. We've hiked up to the summit of Mount Lofty. We're about to get the bus back down into Adelaide CBD very shortly. But yeah, from here we've got magnificent views out over the Adelaide skyline and all the way to the ocean behind us, and also even Adelaide Airport. Anyway, it's going to be a very exciting afternoon today. I'm going to be capping off a really massive last 9 days where I've done 6 flight reviews, travelled all around the place, gone up to Singapore, done some really interesting flight reviews from the Kimberley region of West Australia, and also been over to Adelaide. So filmed heaps of unique flight reviews, also filmed plenty of interesting walking tours and hiking tours as well, such as today's hike up Mount Lofty. Anyway, it's going to be a very exciting afternoon today. We're going to be flying back to Perth. Yesterday we flew in on the second ever National Jet Express Regional Express E190 service. That was a really amazing flight, absolutely sensational experience being able to try a National Jet Express plane for the very first time. But yeah, today we're going to be flying back to Perth. And we're going to be flying on Virgin Australia. The whole reason I did this trip on a bit of a whim was because Rex had this ridiculous last minute sale. They reduced their launch flights on the Perth to Melbourne and Perth to Adelaide route to just $99 and Virgin Australia match. So flew all the way from Perth to Adelaide yesterday on Rex for $99 including luggage, and today I'm flying all the way back from Adelaide to Perth also for $99 inclusive of luggage. Today we're not going to be flying on the usual 737-800. Actually even flew on a 737-700 from Kununurra to Perth a couple of days ago. That was really unique. We're actually going to be flying on an Airbus A320, a Virgin Australia Regional Airlines plane actually. These A320s are based in West Australia. They're actually old ex-TigerAir planes. I believe today's plane originally flew for Tiger Airways in Singapore, then it flew for Tiger Airways in Australia, then Virgin Australia took over the planes when Tiger became defunct during the pandemic. So yeah, do remember flying TigerAir quite a lot back in my younger days when I was in university. Plenty of cheap flights, red-eye flights between Perth and the East Coast, super cheap $100 flights, also cheap flights up to Singapore as well. So yeah, good fun memories of flying Tiger Airways. A really cheap budgety experience, but for the price you couldn't go wrong, especially when I was a university student. Probably not going to be the most comfortable flight this evening. Bit of Tiger Airways nostalgia to it. Going to be pretty crammed, pretty full. But yeah, be really interested to see how the A320 Virgin Australia experience goes. First time reviewing it on the channel. Have flown Perth to Darwin before on the Virgin Australia Regional A320. That was before I had the channel. So yeah, it seemed to be okay at the time, but the flight was also very empty as it was the start of the pandemic. So without further ado, from the summit of Mount Lofty, we better get going now. The bus leaves in about 10 minutes. I need to get that, otherwise I might miss my flight back to Perth tonight. Let's head back into the city, get my luggage, and come join me tonight as we fly back to Perth. So getting back to Adelaide CBD is surprisingly quite easy from the summit of Mount Lofty. You do have to time it right, however, as there's only a few daily services from Mount Lofty Summit down to Capers Bus Interchange. But today the journey time is going to take only about 50 minutes, stopping at Cravers before connecting onto the T800 bus into Adelaide CBD. If you are planning to visit Mount Lofty and you don't have a car, I really recommend you do what I did today. Take the bus to Cravers, hike up to the summit of Mount Lofty in the morning, and then enjoy the comfort and relaxation of taking the bus all the way back to Adelaide in the afternoon. And just like that, welcome to Adelaide International Airport. We just got off the public bus, only took about 20 minutes and only cost a couple dollars, so cannot complain about that whatsoever. Anyway, it's about 4:20 in the afternoon. I do see, however, it looks like our flight potentially could be delayed tonight. So it has even left Perth, so it's probably running at least an hour or so behind already. So it could be at the airport for quite a while. Despite of the delay, hopefully we can still check in and drop my bags off straight away, and perhaps we can chill out at the Rex Lounge with Priority Pass or something like that. So let's head into Terminal Building now. You have to go up the escalators to the departures. Anyway, before we head into Terminal Building, which is largely all under the one roof for flights here in Adelaide, let's have a look at our route information for flight VA721 over to Perth tonight. It's about 3/4 of the way across the Great Australian continent and the Great Australian Bight tonight. Great Circle distance is about 2100 kilometres, conservative flight time's about 3.5 hours. Though tonight we're going to do it in about 2 hours and 57 minutes. For information, Adelaide International Airport is currently the 5th busiest airport in Australia. As is the capital of South Australia, it is also the 5th largest city by population in Australia. Adelaide International Airport, according to the latest statistics in 2024, serviced around 8.5 million yearly passenger movements. Predominantly domestic passengers here in Adelaide, shy under 1 million passengers flew internationally. Conveniently, an airport here in Adelaide is located just 6 kilometres west of the city centre. Adelaide Airport, unlike many other major capital city airports in Australia as well, is devoid from separate terminal buildings. But everything is all under the one roof here for general passenger operations, including domestic and international flights, all under the one roof. The upside of this means absolute seamless transfers between all kinds of flights, particularly compared with Sydney and Perth. There's no potential for complicated and lengthy airside transfers between different terminals on opposite sides of the airfield. Perhaps a possible downside to this arrangement is international passengers will have to actually go through domestic security before they can proceed to the international gate. That being said, however, considering Adelaide Airport only serves a small handful of international flights every day, international passengers in this arrangement do get to enjoy all the extra amenities and food and beverage options of the domestic side of the airport, which may actually be a good thing, as there's very little airside once you clear customs and immigration here in Adelaide. Anyway, on to check-in for Virgin Australia here in Adelaide. You'll find them in the left-hand corner of the terminal building, just to the right of Rex, which at the time were operating quite a substantial intercity jet network around Australia with the 737s. Although unfortunately, as of a few weeks after this review, that is no longer the case due to the airline going into voluntary administration. Anyway, on to check-in itself. Virgin Australia very much up with the times here in Adelaide, largely a self-service affair with self-service check-in kiosks and self-service baggage drop. Fear not, however, there's a few staff hanging around to assist you in case you have any troubles. Few ways you can bring up your booking, most easily just using your name and your destination. You can also use a passport, scan your boarding pass, or even your Velocity frequent flyer number. Unlike some of Qantas's newer self-service check-in kiosks, at least you get a physical boarding pass here with Virgin Australia, so that is very much good to see. After a successful check-in, it's a quick walk over to self-service baggage drop. Very straightforward affair indeed. Just scan your boarding pass, plonk your bag on. At this point we already answered the usual aviation security prompts at check-in. So yeah, just stand by and off our bag goes to Perth tonight. All very easy indeed. And just like that, we're all checked in, ready to go, and bags dropped for our flight over to Perth tonight. Check-in was super quick, easy and efficient. All fully automated here in Adelaide, self-service kiosks and bag drop. So that's really good to see. Very easy, quick and efficient indeed. Unfortunately, my suspicions are right. We are definitely got a bit of a delay tonight, possibly quite a substantial one, at least 1.5 to 2 hours, unfortunately. Aside from that, security was really busy tonight in Adelaide. Massive queue. Did take about 10 or 15 minutes to get through, but yeah, considering how many people in the queue, it was processed very efficiently indeed. Interestingly enough, they seem to have both types of scanners here in Adelaide, both your conventional X-ray machines and also your CT scanners. So a bit of a trick if you don't want to have to take everything out of your bag and keep your watch on and all that sort of stuff, go through the lane on the right hand side. That's got the CT scanners, but that also does have the full body scanner as well, so just keep that in mind. Otherwise, go through the other lanes. It's just your usual regular X-ray machines and metal detector machines. So yeah, at least you've got a choice here in Adelaide. Anyway, we've got plenty of time to get through now. The sun's going down, some great plane spotting action out there. Considering the delay, it might be a good time now I whip out that Priority Pass membership. So let's head over to the Regional Express Lounge now and see what it's like. Should be good. As I alluded to before, all flights depart and arrive under the one terminal roof building here in Adelaide. So it actually gives the perception of Adelaide Airport being a really large and lengthy size airport. So on one end of the terminal building you got Qantas and Jetstar departures, then in the middle you got your international departures gate area, and also on the other side you got Virgin Australia and Rex. As we are indeed heading to the Rex Lounge, which is located at the far end of the terminal building, do need to allow myself a good 10-15 minutes to walk there. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the international departures area now, and as you can see, it's pretty well a glass wall partitioned off area of the terminal building. We've got a Qatar 777 there readying for its evening departure to Doha. A little bit of plane spotting as well at Adelaide Airport. Really good views from all throughout the terminal building. You can see our National Jet Express E190 operating for Rex. That's operating at evening departure back to Perth. Had the pleasure of reviewing it on the way over from Perth only just yesterday. There's a 737-800 there as well from Rex. Last time, unfortunately, I'll ever see one since they're now gone into voluntary administration. Anyway, now on to the Rex Lounge. I'm visiting courtesy of Priority Pass today. Did have to check in at the service desk where they then buzz you in through the door. The Rex Lounge here in Adelaide very much is the smallest of the 3 lounges in the whole Rex network. Very much is just a small sort of square room. Very compact indeed, but it's got everything you need ahead of regionally focused flights, including a self-service coffee machine, a sort of cold snacks and sandwiches. Also got a self-service bar which opens after 11 AM. In terms of other facilities and amenities, it's got some basic business facilities there with computers. Also got a TV and a massage chair. As for views, there is some natural lighting, although not really direct views of the tarmac per se. Also some Rex memorabilia on display and some reading materials available. If you are going to need to use the restrooms, you are going to have to depart the lounge however. So in a rather interesting update here, I find myself in the Regional Express Lounge all by myself. So this delay is having a little bit of an upside here. The lounge is open for another hour and a half or so until 7 o'clock. So hopefully should be able to see out most of the delay here. And yeah, got the whole lounge to myself. Feels more like I'm in someone's living room rather than in an airport. Very cool indeed. Got the remote control for the TV, can watch whatever I want. Got a full self-serve bar at my disposal and free flying snacks as well. So yeah, this is really cool. Got the whole lounge to myself. So as you can see, the Rex regional lounges are by no means a match for Qantas clubs or Virgin Australia lounges in the big capital cities, but they certainly don't have to be either, with Rex only serving a very small percentage of passengers compared to the two big airlines. So in a nutshell, a very enjoyable, quite a homely experience tonight in the Rex Lounge, having it all to myself. The great part about the Rex Lounge is that it's open to the public, so yeah, you can use your priority pass to get in. Also, if you are flying on a Rex, you can pay for access. It's $33, although that's half if you're on a flex fare. Obviously, they no longer have 737-800 flights, however, so it's not necessarily going to get it by default flying business class with Rex. Anyway, after a very pleasant hour and a half or so in the Rex Lounge, where I completely forget I'm even in an airport with no one around, as if I was at home watching the 6 o'clock news with a drink and a snack, it is now time to head to the gate to catch our Airbus A320 from Virgin Australia Regional Airlines, making its way to the gate 2 hours behind schedule from Perth. Before we're about to head on board our Virgin Australia Airbus A320 that will take us over to Perth tonight, a little bit more detail about our aircraft tonight. Registration on this one is Victor Hotel Victor November Juliet. Definitely getting on for age. This aircraft first built in Toulouse, France about 18 years ago now. It's actually first delivered to Tiger Airways up in Singapore in December of 2006. Then came down under operating for Tiger Airways Australia in September 2009 when Tiger Airways rebranded to TigerAir, then flew under TigerAir colours from July 2013. Then it was taken over by Virgin Australia Regional Airlines, where it's ever flown since April 2018. The Airbus A320 is a relative rarity for the Virgin Australia fleet, actually only operate a total of 7. This is stark contrast to the Boeing 737 family of aircraft, which is a total of 84 in the fleet. Anyway, boarding is finally about to be called, about 2 hours behind schedule now, but better late than never. Definitely looking like it's going to be an almost full flight tonight, which is less than ideal considering Tiger Airways were notorious for very, very limited legroom back in the day. Boarding tonight is all done through the front doors and by an aero bridge, so no need to go out into the cold Adelaide night. Also, some impressive views of the Qatar Airways 777 out there on the tarmac upon boarding as well, which is very, very impressive indeed. And just like that, welcome aboard our former Tiger Airways Airbus A320 operating for Virgin Australia Regional Airlines. Only a total of 7 of these in the VA fleet. They operate predominantly in West Australia for regional and mining flights. They do, however, venture out on flights to Adelaide and also up to Darwin. May have also occasionally serviced flights to Tasmania from Perth as well. In total, there's 162 seats on this aircraft in a stock standard all economy class free configuration. Very much has retained the old Tiger Airways seating as well. At your seat, you'll also find a fold-out tray table that slightly extends. Also, you'll find in-flight literature, including the in-flight magazine and safety car briefing. Also, air sickness bag. To my surprise, seat gurus say these seats have 31 inches of seat pitch and 17.8 inches of width. However, to be honest, they feel a lot tighter for space than that, so not sure if that is even correct or just an error.
Thank you.
TigerAir aircraft were always known to have 180 seats and about 28 or 29 inches of seat pitch, and that certainly felt much more like the experience I was getting tonight.
Getting out of Perth. Once we do get underway, flight time 3 hours and 10 minutes. We are expecting smooth flights all the way. Weather Perth is much the same, clear skies, a little bit warmer, temperature 14 degrees over the...
Anyway, if Seat Guru really was correct, it would imply that an old Tiger Airways A320 had more legroom than a Qantas or Virgin Australia 737-800, saying I simply do not believe is true. Now as we taxi past the Qatar Airways Boeing 777 getting ready, getting prepared for its long flight over to Doha later this evening. What better time now to sit back, relax and enjoy our takeoff out of Adelaide, City of Churches this evening. Then once firmly in the air, I'll go over what you can expect on board with the Virgin Australia Airbus A320 experience. Now that we're in the air, well and truly on our way up to cruising altitude, leaving the lights of Adelaide behind and about to embark on the journey across the Great Australian Bight, let's now have a look at the in-flight menu for Virgin Australia. So Virgin Australia very much has transitioned to a buy on board menu for the most part now these days. On Virgin Australia, nothing is complimentary in economy class these days with the exception of tea, coffee and water. So buy on board menu has a good range of sweet and savoury snacks in addition to soft drinks and alcoholic beverages. Not too much however in terms of more substantial options. So today I get the double snack and beer combo. You can also get a wine instead. So yeah, you get 2 sweet or savoury snacks and a beer or wine. So get the Bolter XPA. Portuguese cheese and crackers had run out like many flights I take on Virgin Australia. So yeah, it's 2 cans of Pringles today to suffice, 1 original, 1 sour cream and a can of Bolter XPA for $20. Not overly great value in my opinion, but you do save a few dollars nonetheless with the combo. Do find the prices on Virgin Australia to be quite steep, definitely a couple dollars more than what you'd pay on Jetstar, but at least it's a pretty crafty beer you get, very enjoyable one, the Bolter indeed. In terms of complimentary stuff, you do get free coffee, tea and water as I alluded to before. So yeah, after they do the main buy on board service, they do come around offering rounds of tea, coffee and water as well. Crew were very happy to oblige. Aside from that, not much more to report about tonight's flight. It's proceeding very quickly despite being a rather full and not the most comfortable flight to be honest. In terms of entertainment, there really isn't much on the Virgin Australia A320. Unfortunately, no stream to your own device entertainment system or Wi-Fi or anything like that. So very much bring your own, very much load up your own device would be what I recommend. Definitely download some documentaries on YouTube Premium. Aside from that, it is a night flight, so unfortunately no real views to enjoy out the window either. Now a quick look at the onboard lavatory. There's 1 at the front and 2 at the rear of the aircraft. Very much a stock standard A320 lavatory, certainly nothing fancy or mind-blowing, but yeah, kept in reasonably good nick and condition nonetheless. And just like that, we're just about to start our descent with the first glimpses of the eastern reaches of the Perth metropolitan area firmly in reach. What better time now to sit back, relax and enjoy our stunning Perth evening arrival. And then once on the ground in Perth, I'll give my final thoughts and overall verdict on tonight's Virgin Australia A320 experience.
Cabin 2, please be on those and cross check.
Now as we prepare to disembark our A320, which has taken us over from Adelaide this evening, let me reflect on that Virgin Australia A320 option and how it compares to other options on the Perth to Adelaide route in terms of aircraft and experience. First things first, I've got to be very objective about tonight's flight. I only actually paid $99 for this flight because they were matching Rex's extraordinary airfare sale that they were having at the time. So $99 even included a luggage lounge and complimentary seat selection. So it was absolute insane sale fare. And for the price I paid, it was a very uneventful flight tonight. But yeah, that was very much reminiscent of the Tiger Airways days indeed. How much I paid tonight. So absolutely no complaints there. Once in a blue moon, I have seen Jetstar go about as low as this on the route, but with absolutely no luggage allowance or any inclusions whatsoever. Typically, however, Virgin Australia never going to be cheaper than $200 on the route these days. So putting aside the extreme price anomaly, that is definitely having some influence on my overall experience about tonight's flight aside. Objectively speaking, I'd probably put the Virgin Australia A320 as the least favourable, least comfortable option that I've ever experienced travelling between Perth and Adelaide. For starters, turning to Jetstar, the daily Perth to Adelaide service is now operated by the far more modern Airbus A321neo. Seating pitch may be similar, being a budget airline. That being said, however, the ergonomic design of the slimline seats definitely make it feel more spacious in my opinion. The modern aircraft also has USB-C charging, also has a stream to your own device entertainment system, even if you do have to pay, something that Virgin Australia's A320 doesn't have, even though Virgin Australia generally speaking do charge a lot more for their flights. In my opinion, Jetstar's buy on board menu is also more affordable, and I also do prefer the bundle structure with Jetstar flights, definitely suit my needs better than Virgin. Of course, many people do still have a benefit from the Virgin Australia frequent flyer program and their good range of capital city lounges. If I was to compare the A320 experience that I had tonight with the short-lived National Jet Express Rex E190 service over to Adelaide that I only experienced the day before, while both aircraft don't really have the modern bells and whistles, definitely found the E190 to be a very comfortable ride over indeed. Such a shame the flight no longer exists, however. In terms of the Boeing 737-800 services, which are operated by both Qantas and also Virgin Australia on the Perth to Adelaide route, once again I do think these are also far superior than the A320 services. In terms of the hard product, both are pretty similar. Legroom is marginally better on the 737-800s. Both also have the stream to your own device entertainment systems. Qantas obviously have complimentary free Wi-Fi as well. Qantas generally obviously costs more than Virgin, but you do get complimentary food and beverage and a little bit more full service experience. But at the end of the day, the best comparison of all is obviously comparing the 737-800 with Virgin Australia with the A320s. Definitely the 737-800 definitely wins out indeed. At the end of the day, under new ownership of Virgin Australia since the you-know-what, which very much has seen the service offerings on the airline being trimmed down quite a lot, many of the few remaining features and amenities that put Virgin Australia ahead of Jetstar very much do get lost when you fly on the A320. Less comfortable seating, less legroom, also you lose in-flight entertainment and Wi-Fi prospects as well. So that really puts a dampener on the whole experience in my opinion. It makes it even less and less a reason why you wouldn't fly Jetstar instead. Of course, however, for the exceptionally abnormal price that I paid for tonight, I'm in absolutely no position to complain about this particular flight. And just like that, welcome to Perth Airport. Seems like a case of deja vu. We were literally only here 36 hours ago when we embarked on our National Jet Express Rex second ever flight between Perth and Adelaide. That was really amazing. And yeah, tonight's flight back on Virgin Australia on the TigerAir Airbus A320. Well, yeah, overall, yeah, it was an okay experience. In terms of seating itself, it's incredibly tight. Probably the most uncomfortable seat that you'll have on the Perth to Adelaide route. Definitely would take the Embraer E190 for National Jet Express / Rex any time of the day. Probably would even take a 737-800 over that seat. And yeah, would also take the Jetstar Airbus A321 over that seat as well. But apart from that, considering the aircraft is nearly 20 years of age, the old TigerAir Airbus A320 still looks pretty fresh for its age. So yeah, the seating itself is not too bad. It's just the legroom that really lets it down. Everything else about today's flight was a pretty standard Virgin Australia flight. Very much what I expected in terms of service. A little bit of a step above Jetstar and a step down from Qantas. So overall, considering I only paid $99 for this flight, really hard to complain. Pity about the delay leaving Adelaide. We were about 2 hours behind time, but yeah, it is what it is. Did enjoy that Rex lounge all to myself in Adelaide, so that's all right. So that's it, folks, from here at Perth Airport. If you have enjoyed tonight's flight review on the old ex-TigerAir Airbus A320, really bring back memories for me. Very nostalgic flight, this one indeed, even if it was quite uncomfortable. Really have enjoyed it. Hope you have as well. If you have enjoyed it, really appreciate it. Do give it a like, leave your comments down below. Most importantly, share amongst your family and friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, whatever brings you to my channel, if you do enjoy my content, that is. In the meantime, you also visit my website, aussiejetsetter.com.au, for latest and flight reviews, industry news, destination guides, frequent flyer hacks and more. Also, I'll put a link down below in the description to my dedicated Aussie JetSetter Shorts channel, also my Aussie JetSetter Instagram page, covering the short form content, what I'm doing around the world in real time. That will be really cool as well. Maybe even join my dedicated Discord server for fans and community to discuss all things aviation and travel. So from here at Perth International Airport, thanks so much for watching tonight's rather nostalgic flight review on the Virgin Australia Regional Airlines Airbus A320. Really brought back old memories of flying on TigerAir back in the day. And until next one, safe travels wherever that might take you.